Well, good morning and welcome to Zen Live. So, yesterday we were, let me get my timer going. I watched the Ken Burns documentary on Vietnam last night, and we got up to kind of like when Kennedy was assassinated, 1963. So we have about 10 more years to go. When did the war end? 73 or 2, somewhere in there? Or when it collapsed. Anyway, and yesterday we left off, with Good Morning Vietnam, if you remember that beautiful little Robin Williams movie. And I wanted to talk about, and I titled this talk this morning on the Eureka moment. And so there's several dots we're connecting. I just left this up here from yesterday. The divided egg, the one that is divided. And also I left this little symbol of Mount Golgatha. Can't even pronounce Golgatha. The mount that Jesus was crucified on, the mountain of the skulls. And there is 2 crosses here where thieves were hanging, and then there was the Son of Man. So here you have the 2 thieves, 2 opposites, and then you have a birth of something. That's Eureka. So the Son of Man is a metaphor for Eureka. I see. A new idea. A new scientific idea, a new art, a new revelation about yourself. Eureka. That goes back to the old Greek myth of can't think of his name, but he was given a problem by the king. He had a gold crown, and he wanted to know how much gold he had. Well, the problem, boom, 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 a double bind, was that if he melted the gold down to see how much gold was in it, he would destroy the crown. So, but he had to obey the king. So he was caught in a double bind. So he struggled, it's like a Zen cone. What to do, what to do, what to do. So he took a bath. He got in the tub, and he noticed that when his body was in the tub, the water rose for an equal amount of volume. Eureka! And he went running down the street naked. Eureka! And that's where Eureka comes from. When and we all have these little moments when we have this double bind of if I do this, I'm screwed. If I do that, I'm screwed. What to do? A feedback loop. We struggle. What is the crossword puzzle? What is that person's name? How do you fit? What would the MacGyver moment? How do I get out of the fix? What do I need to do to get out of the fix? You see, anytime we're in a fix, we're in a double bind. And the fix is because we don't know what to do. The fix is because I don't have an idea that unifies the 2 sides, that makes the egg whole again. Humpty Dumpty. Boom, boom. All the king's men can't put it back together again. You need a Eureka. A Eureka puts it back together again, and the Eureka is an idea that hasn't existed before. So it's a creation. It's a synthesis, like in Hegel's dialectic. This is the thesis and then the antithesis. Struggle, struggle, struggle. Eureka, synthesis. But the way this pattern works is that you have struggle, struggle, struggle. I don't know. Oh, God, let me go have a martini. Let me go take a dump. Let me go just relax. I quit. I'm going to go play golf. And while you're playing golf, the mind has relaxed from its struggle, And something insignificant may trigger, Eureka. And you drop your clubs and go running back home and write down the idea. All scientific creations have been created this way. It's well documented. The benzene ring. What was it? Cote, I don't know what. All these they're all European names, but he was struggling for this benzene ring. Just is a great invention for chemistry, and so he relaxed, took a break, and he had an image of a snake eating its tail. And he knew exactly that was the answer. So then he went home and translated that image into chemical formulas. And so the Eureka can come as a picture or an idea, usually in an image, but then the scientist or the artist then translates that full-blown idea, the idea comes full-blown, into the language of his art or his science or everyday world. So we're looking at a basic formula for Eureka. And I say, as I connect dots, that's why I could just connect this Christian symbol here of the 3 crosses as a metaphor for Eureka. So you have the yin and the yang, this or that, either or, neither one of which is a single idea that unifies both. So the synthesis, and this is a wound, you see, the wound that won't heal is the problem that I have no answer for. In the spiritual quest, the question is, who am I? What am I? I got to find out. So this quest for the Holy Grail, the Holy Grail is that which heals the wound of the double bind or the perplexing problem of our life, whether it's in a situation on how do I fix this particular box, or how do I fix this thing in my house, you see, or how do I get the job done when I don't have any tools? Rednecks, we laugh and say, redneck, he's got he doesn't have a car, so he creates something. He doesn't have, whatever. The redneck jokes, I think they're really ironic, because the redneck jokes showing somebody making do out of junk because they can't afford a real, they're too poor to afford something, so they make something out of junk, is all about Eureka moments. So you don't have the money to let the professional come in and do it and just buy it already fixed. You have to create something out of junk, out of your backyard. Oh, look at that, funny. That's not funny. That's the formula for Eureka. So even the 2 thieves and the Son of Man, you see, you think the Son of Man is something. Well, no, the Son of Man is Eureka. The Son of Man, or the Christ, is it's a revelation. I see. And that revelation can happen in something around the household. We're all, encountering it all the time. How do I fix this? I put this together and put that together, and boom. My wife is very good at that. I'm not very good at that on the physical level, but I'm good at it with ideas. So I connect ideas and come up with, I didn't know that. I see. See. So Eureka means I see. I see. Where I didn't see before, I see now. I was blind, now I see. All the metaphors, everything points to this simple formula. And the pain prior to the Eureka is the wound that won't heal. How do you heal the wound that won't heal? So all the myths, all the stories, everything, it's all about that. It's kind of like the theory that explains everything. You see. So all the different rivers come into this same ocean. The same problem. How do I get the Eureka? How do I get the answer that solves my problem? How do I get the answer that heals me? How do I get the idea that heals the political rift between the Democrats and the Republicans? How do I, or even the split in the Democratic Party between Sanders and Clinton? What's the idea that heals that? What's the idea that heals the conservative and the liberal thing? What's the idea that heals the North and the South? What's the idea that heals Vietnam? So, getting back to Vietnam, I guess, Ho Chi Minh had an idea, passionate idea that drove his whole life for the unity of the broken egg of Vietnam. It started out with the native people being colonized by the French, and then the Japanese, and then the Americans. And Ho Chi Minh had a single idea, and he wanted to heal the wound of his people. So all great leaders, Martin Luther King, the founding fathers, what was the wound of the colonies in Great Britain? See, the colonies and Great Britain, there was a wound there. There were one that was divided. So America was the Eureka. America was the Eureka idea. And when you have a single idea that unifies your world, it generates great energy and passion. And if the time is right, it can't be defeated. It can't be defeated. If the time is right, a single idea cannot be defeated. Because it pulls in it's like a hurricane. The eye of the hurricane is the single idea of the hurricane. And all the energies of the weather, all of the energies pull into that eye, you see. So the single idea has to be born because it doesn't exist before it's born. What exists are two ideas that are incompatible, but are mutually dependent. Two ideas that are mutually dependent because they belong to the same egg, but they're incompatible. So you can't, it's like the magnets. It won't fit together. So you come up, so this opposition is really a field that generates a creative idea that restores unity. Let there be one is the commandment of life in the universe. Put no other gods before me. Put no other ideas before me. You see, no other ideas before me. That's the one without a second. But that one without a second has to be born through the quest, the passion, and the struggle, the labor for it to come into existence. And then, of course, history being what it is, that idea then divides and creates another single idea. So the dialectic moves forward, and we call that history. So, where can we go with this? I think what we're looking at is the application of a principle to our own life. If we can't apply an idea or a principle or a formula to your own life, it's no good. It's kind of like, if your chemistry is something, and somebody comes up with, you're a cook, and somebody comes up with a recipe, an idea for a great meal, but you can't get the ingredients. Or maybe there's something wrong, in other words, you can't apply it. You can't apply it to the conditions of your life. It's no good. No, just put it aside. So Truth is what works, what you can apply, what has an effect. This is very scientific. So the science comes up with an idea. There's a wound. There's too many Sherlock Holmes. There's the idea we have on who did it doesn't, you see, I got an idea on who did it, but you got all these other clues out there. Well, what about those clues? Well, we'll just exclude them. This guy did it. Just bulldoze right over there. But what about, we got to include this evidence. We got to include these. So now I got a dilemma. This is the detective story. The commissioner says, I want an arrest, and that guy looks like he did it, so arrest him. That's the idea that solves the dilemma. I got a problem. The mayor's on my back. I got to have an arrest. I got to get rid of this problem. Arrest that guy. Close the case. But what about these clues here? Forget about it. But then the detective, you see, the Sherlock says, well, no, I can't forget about it. So he suspends judgment. Well, let's not wait before we arrest that guy. Still open. So he's waiting for the Eureka. So he struggles. No. And he's really working the clues. He's really, run down that. We'll go check out that. We'll go check into that. Oh, did you see that? And suddenly at some moment, boom, Eureka. It all fits together. He did it. We love it. That's what makes these mysteries move. You see, Eureka, the Son of Man. Eureka, the idea between the two the two thieves. You see, the two thieves is that each one of these halves wants to be the one. He wants to steal the one. A thief wants to steal something. What does the thief wants to steal? He wants to be the one. The liberals and the conservatives want to be the one. This is what causes religious wars. A religion wants to be the one God. Eliminate all the other suspects. You see, there can only be one God. You see, and this is the fault of Christianity, in that it cannot be tolerant of anybody else. You see, so this intolerance, this need to be the one, creates a violent conflict that divides life. So I don't know. Let's see if we can come back to Vietnam. I got a couple more minutes here. So the great thing about the Ken Burns documentary is that it really helps. It's helping me. It should help us see the mythology that captured the American mind at the beginning of the Vietnam War, which drew us into it. And the single idea that seemed to hold the whole thing together was that you had the Russians and the Americans, each with an atomic bomb, so neither could defeat the other one and become the one. Checkmate. You got the bomb, I got the bomb. Nobody can be number one now, because if I try to destroy you and become number one, the one without a second, well, then I destroy myself. Boop, game over. So that became a checkmate. But the friction between the two generated proxy wars, substitute wars, the domino effect, Korea, Vietnam. And the theory was that if Korea fell or if Vietnam fell, that would be a domino that tripped Southeast Asia. And then Southeast Asia would go communist, and then India would go, and then the Middle East would go, and then finally America would be a little bitty painted into the corner in a big sea of communism, you see. That was the fear. So Vietnam then became a proxy war for this idea that explained everything. So this idea, which really goes back to Persia and Zoroaster and the mythology of the great wars, the cosmic war of light against darkness, good versus evil, communism and capitalism, this great mythology, you see, activated or entranced our country and created a blindness to see what was actually going on in Vietnam. Nobody could actually see the evidence here. Nobody could see the clue. A few people did, but they got wiped out. Nobody could look at the ground and see what was actually going on. The myth shaped everything. The myth shaped reality. The idea shaped reality and created what people saw. The news reporters, everything. We're winning. Winning is just around the corner. Just a few more soldiers. That's all it needs. Just a few more, we win. So we'll close there. That may connect a dot with Afghanistan. It may connect a dot with Afghanistan. So anyway, thank you for dropping in, and I'll see you this evening at Martini time.